Hello, Christ is in our midst. I'm Father Kevin Long of St. Elias Antioch Orthodox Church in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. Today is Friday, July 31st, 2020, and here are the readings for today. The first reading is St. Paul's first letter to the Corinthians, chapter 11, verses 8 through 23. Brethren, man was not made from woman, but woman from man. Neither was man created for woman, but woman for man. That is why a woman ought to have a veil on her head, because of the angels. Nevertheless, in the Lord, woman is not independent of man, nor man of woman. For as woman was made from man, so man is now born of a woman. And all things are from God. Judge for yourselves. Is it proper for a woman to pray to God with her head uncovered? Does not nature itself teach you that for a man to wear long hair is degrading to him? But if a woman has long hair, it is to her pride, for her hair is given to her for a covering. If anyone is disposed to be contentious, we recognize no other practice, nor do the churches of God. But in the following instructions I do not commend you, because when you come together it is not for the better, but for the worse. For, in the first place, when you assemble as a church, I hear that there are divisions among you, and I partly believe it, for there must be factions among you, in order that those who are genuine among you may be recognized. When you meet together, it is not the Lord's Supper that you eat, for in eating one goes ahead with his own meal, and one is hungry and another is drunk. What? Do you not have houses to eat and drink in? Or do you despise the church of God and humiliate those who have nothing? What shall I say to you? Shall I commend you in this? No, I will not, for I have received from the Lord what I also delivered to you. The Gospel reading today is from the Gospel of St. Matthew, chapter 17, verses 10 through 18. At that time the disciples asked Jesus, "Then why do the scribes say that first Elijah must come?" He replied, "Elijah does come, and he is to restore all things. But I tell you that Elijah has already come, and they did not know him, but did to him whatever they pleased. So also the Son of Man will suffer at their hands." Then the disciples understood that he was speaking to them of John the Baptist. And when they came to the crowd, a man came up to him, and kneeling before him said, "Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is an epileptic, and he suffers terribly. For often he falls into the fire, and often into the water. And I brought him to your disciples, and they could not heal him." And Jesus answered, "O faithless and perverse generation, how long am I to be with you? How long am I to bear you? Bring him here to me." And Jesus rebuked him, and the demon came out of him, and the boy was cured instantly. When we look at the Gospel today, we see several things that would be worth taking some time to examine. The first is the common belief of what was to come in the future. It's not just us Christians here in the 21st century that are looking for signs and believe that this sign or that sign must be fulfilled in order for something to happen. Generally we're looking for the end of the world, and we're looking for the signs or indications that we might find in the New Testament, especially in things like the book of Revelation, or maybe somewhere else within the New Testament. But when we think about those things, we need to understand that there are fulfillments of certain things that have come to pass already, but there are other things that serve to remind us that we know neither the time nor the place, and nor is it really for us to worry about such things. We just need to be ready. At any rate, in the old days, before the time of Christ, when they were expecting the Messiah, there was a belief that Elijah would come back to prepare the way for the one who was to come, for the Messiah. And so, when we take a look at the life of John the Baptist, we see that he is indeed just like Elijah, or Elias. He is just like. He's ferocious. He's completely and totally devoted to the Lord. He is completely doing the will of the Father. He's doing all of those things, just as Elias himself did in the days of old against the prophets of Baal. So He is indeed the second Elias, John the Baptist is, and so he is the fulfillment. And Christ reminds people that they could have seen this if they had read the scriptures and paid attention, the Sadducees and the Pharisees, but they didn't pay attention, and as a result, they didn't recognize who was right in front of them. John the Baptist is John the Baptist, but he is also, in many ways, the coming again of Elias, making straight the path that leads to Christ, the Messiah. The next thing I want to talk about has to do with the story of this son of the epileptic who would fall into the fire. Jesus' response is something that we're probably familiar with from a different reading that we do during the Divine Liturgy. O faithless and perverse generation, how long am I to be with you? How long am I to bear with you? Bring him here to me. After the young man is healed and the demon comes out of him and he goes about his life, his disciples come up to him and they ask him, why weren't we able to remove this demon? And Jesus said, because this demon can only be removed with prayer and fasting. And that's an important thing for us to be mindful of today. When we think about who we are and what we're looking for, I think a lot of times we pray and we hope for an answer and we're looking for maybe even something shy of a miracle or maybe even a miracle. But we haven't fulfilled our obligation, prayer and fasting. What's the point of fasting? To hone our spirits and to make sure that we are prepared, truly prepared to be the kind of people that God calls us to be. The kinds of foods that we fast from can make you sluggish or lazy. Not luggish. Sluggish or lazy. It can do things to you. It can make you drunk. It can make you tired. So we fast from those things so that we can maintain a sense of vigilance. Prayer is a constant communication to God. So between those two things, we are making ourselves available for God to respond to us. And that's what we need to be mindful of. Had the disciples practiced that form of prayer and of fasting, they would have been able to remove the demon because they would have been focused on God and not on other things. So that is also our call. We are to understand that in our day, we need to intensify our prayer and we need to do what we can to fast within our abilities. Fasting is not something that is seen as a form of punishment, but it is a form of us agreeing with God that says, basically, that we're going to take the steps necessary to be closer to you, O God. So that's what we struggle with. During the fast and at all times, we're always battling this tension that exists between God and the world. So may God give us the wisdom and the strength to be able to resist the temptations of this world. And at the same time, may he give us also his grace, that we may see him clearly in the things that he is doing for us, and so that we too may bear fruit and show to be good and faithful servants of the one who has saved us all. May God bless you and keep you and your family today and always. God willing, we will see you tomorrow. Have a good day.